Where is that preview? Inside of some kind of greenhouse.
We're live.
We open the public meeting of the Henry County Redevelopment Commission. I know that we have a quorum. Minutes have been distributed to each commission member, have they not?
Yes.
Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes for meetings held January 23, the meeting held January 23, no, meetings, plural, on January 23, 2026? If not, they'll stand approved as distributed. Financial report. Murphy.
You have the operations budget. The first line item is the balance in the operating account, $144,569.95 as of 3/26. You can see the expenses listed there. On a $75,000 budget, we expended almost $10,000. And then you can see the income projected going into that fund. We won't receive the first installment on the farm rent until later this week. Invoices paid out of the general fund since our last meeting are detailed at the bottom of that document. They total $2,034.68. If you turn the page, invoices paid out of the TIF accounts since the last meeting total $128,565.60. And then you can look at our obligated funds report. Fund balances have been updated through the end of 2/28, so the end of February. I deleted the obligations under the I-70 State Road 109 because we canceled the interlocal agreement with Knightstown. Be happy to respond to any questions. Would like a motion to ratify those claims paid.
Make a motion to approve the invoices paid.
Second.
And that's two sets of invoices?
Yes.
Well,
Two
different accounts.
Yeah. But one group of invoices is $2,034 and the other is $128,000 plus. So the motion is to pay all of those, correct?
They've been paid, we're ratifying.
Thank you. Is there any discussion? If not, as many as favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you. And just make sure I'm on board. The general account, which started the month with, which is ending the month with 145,000 in round numbers, is in addition to the accounts shown on the obligated funds report.
Correct.
Is all the money on the obligated funds report in a single account?
No.
Okay. So when we look, we see several balances. How many accounts hold those funds?
Each allocation area has its own account.
Okay. So, and we can determine the difference by the different number.
Correct.
Got you. Thank you. That helps.
And those accounts are held by the successor trust organization, successor to Citizen State Bank, and that is Greenfield Baking Company.
Okay, are you seeking any further action on the financial report? Just approval of the financial report?
No further action on the financial report. I do have an invoice that I want to talk to you about for the next item.
Let's talk about it.
You don't have a copy of the invoice in front of you, but in the email,
Excuse me, we've got an important.
I'm one in every crowd. Sorry.
there, it reminds me. Yep.
Yeah.
FPBH is an engineering firm that we've worked with for a number of years. They were purchased or merged into Gonzalez. And a few weeks ago, I received a phone call and an email about an invoice in the amount of $2,700. And they were working through the transition between the two companies and discovered that they had never invoiced us for this work. And it was previously approved, the work was previously approved because it was related to a water and sewer plan on the Rothrock property. And I ended up canceling that project because of litigation. And so in the time that I told them to go ahead and the time that I canceled it, they had put forth work of $2,700. And I feel like we owe it, but I wanted to get your blessing before I pay an invoice that dates back to work done in 2023. But my recommendation is to pay the bill.
We would pay it to Gonzalez or FPBH?
We pay it to Gonzalez, because Gonzalez purchased FPBH. And many of the people there that worked on this project with FPBH are with Gonzalez.
Just want to make sure we don't get a bill later from.
Right.
Okay. Is there any discussion on this, on the bill we knew nothing about when we walked in the room?
So when you said they did some work, did we ever receive any work product from that work?
It
Or
was,
what was it?
surveying and design, preliminary surveying work. So no, I mean, it was work that they had to do to put together the plan. And I canceled the project because of the litigation.
So it's hard to say that they did a quarter of the business, a quarter of the work. You know, it's hard to define how much they actually. You remember what the total project was going to be?
This was like a $60,000 project. And so this amount is reasonable.
And we still utilize them for some things, correct?
We do.
So, well, I'll move we go ahead and pay the $2,700. I mean, it's obviously a tardy invoice, but to maintain the relationship and pay them for work that they did, I move that we pay the $2,700.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Is there discussion, further discussion?
Will you go back and reinstate that project now that that's passed?
Not at this time, because of work that we're doing with or hopefully going to do with the further north up in that infrastructure.
Okay.
We might eventually get to it,
Okay.
but not in the immediate time frame.
I guess what we're all kind of looking at is, are we going to lose the benefit of the work that's been done?
That is hard for me to answer. So I don't know the answer to that question.
Further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? No? Carries. Thank you. Okay. We have spent some time talking about this sewer project. And you presented us with 4 options originally. It appears from the agenda that at least your thinking has narrowed that to one of the 4 options.
Yes.
Take us through that, please.
I'm going to pull it up on the screen. Maybe. Road 3, here, 300 south, here. And so the project, the bulk of the project consists of installing a 36-inch sewer interceptor, which is a fancy term for big pipe. And so the question before us, and really the main difference among all the options, is how far from here is that 36-inch interceptor extended to? And so,
When you say from here, you're talking about the west end of Sandy Gale?
yeah,
And at the west end of Sandy Gale, there is a lift station?
36-inch line.
Is a
It's already there.
36-inch line.
36-inch that
So
all the way to the plant.
So a new 36-inch line would be connecting to an existing 36-inch line.
yes.
Sorry for the interruption, go ahead.
I'm moving my mouse so I don't have to remember the directions, right? So the west end of Sandy Gale is here.
Yep.
And so the question is how far or how much distance this new 36-inch is extending. And so there were 4 options that we have reviewed. It's been a number of months, but my recommendation is to go with option 3. And option 3 is an extension of the 36-inch from the west end of Sandy Gale to the intersection of 300 South and Commerce. Moving my cursor there. And then it is a new 10-inch from a existing lift station. So here is the existing lift station, and the project calls for a new 10-inch force main to get from the lift station to the new 36-inch pipe.
So where the 10-inch and the 36-inch meet, there's, what, just a big sleeve of some kind that
It reduces down,
Oh,
yeah. The 10-inch will come into, the 10-inch will be pumped, it'll be forced into that. When it hits the 36-inch, it's gravity all the way
gravity
to,
flow?
all the way to the plant. Which at, where the 10-inch will end at the lift station, that's where we're overflowing right now from TS Tech and from the hummus plant. And the hummus plant has hired somebody from Louisville, a former employee at Louisville, and has helped out tremendously with hummus's issues, hummus's problems.
So this,
Well, by the time the hummus, I'm sorry, but by the time the hummus waste gets to this lift station, most of the problems have already been resolved at a previous lift station, right?
No. No, it goes straight from hummus to that. TS Tech and hummus plant come together and go to that lift station.
There's 2 lift stations along their path.
Right?
One of them,
The
TS Tech,
lift station,
it's really TS Tech.
and then the next lift station along the path is the CarQuest.
I thought when we discussed this previously, you and I mean, just to go, that, in my understanding, most of the problems with the waste had been resolved before it got to the CarQuest lift station.
The
And
city,
you're telling me that's not the case?
Well, yeah, that's what we've been working on all this time. It's got better. It's not resolved, but it's a lot better. Let me put it like this. In November, you would not have wanted to drive down your road because that lift station is right at the edge of Hayes Way. And it had backed up that it ran all the way back to where the line had never been used before. And it had come to ground 300 yards from that lift station and a brand new line that nobody's ever been hooked up to. I mean, literally, so much pressure on it, it forced it out halfway to Gilman's. So, and we found gloves and hair nets and things from TS Tech, and we found rubber and gloves and masks from from the hummus plant. So we've put strainers in. We've done a lot, so it's better. But when Corey had sold the existing spec building and the property across from the spec building, I looked at him and said, unless we put this 36-inch line, this 10-inch line in, we can't take it. This line won't hold it, won't handle it.
36 inches, all new, right?
yes.
Yeah.
How'd it go before then?
If you're at the corner of the motel,
Yeah.
it went down from an 18-inch to a 6-inch, back up to an 8-inch, turned the corner, went north, and it hit another 6-inch, and then went to a 12-inch, and it had been jacked around so many times, it was embarrassing. I spent many of Sunday afternoons out there trying to sop it up before the
I think I saw you out there.
state came out to try to fix it. So we've bypassed that. This 36-inch line goes behind the motel now, and in all reality, if you think about what's the corn place, the seed corn?
Precision soil.
Yeah, all that land behind there, that could be sold for residential. It butts up against, but without this 36-inch line, I mean, that's all in the county. That'd be county property tax coming in. But without this line, I don't foresee that all that land, that's a big field, that could be developed into residential someday.
36 inches, plenty big?
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
And you got good gravity flow from.
Oh, yeah, yep, yep.
So, is it correct that the potential bottleneck of this recommendation is the 10-inch force main?
Right now, it's not a 10-inch. Right now, it's an 8-inch, and it's,
I understand, but the proposal is to put in a 10-inch.
yeah, well, we're gonna leave the 8-inch, so we'll have 18 inches
I see.
of flow.
Okay.
We're not gonna take one out.
I didn't understand that.
Yeah, so
Me neither.
it will, behind Jamestown, we had a 12-inch and a 16-inch, and we put a new 36-inch in, but we left those in there, so it hits a big tank about the size of this room. So when it gets so full in the 36-inch, it hits the old lines, and so it carries both lines. So you're not just replacing one line, you're still getting access out of the older lines also.
The 36 that you put in next to Jamestown, that's new.
Brand new, yep,
Doesn't that go all the way to the plant?
all the way,
Okay.
yep. Yep, every inch of the way.
Brand new, 3.
Well, 3 or 4 years old,
Yeah,
but
well,
compared to the rest of
That's
our,
what the Y gave them the ground for. That's what,
yes,
okay, that's what I'm remembering.
yep, exactly.
Okay, so I guess my concern, if I have a concern, is this 10-inch between the 36-inch and the lift station. You don't have any concern about that?
Well, you know, if we went with phase one or phase two, it would have eliminated the lift station, but we can leave the lift station there, and we pump it through the 10-inch line now, instead of gravity flow from there to the 36. So either one, 2 or 3, either one would be a huge upgrade for
And
the whole
10
process.
And the 10-inch is a force main. The lift station is forcing
Pumping it into it.
the waste through that 10-inch pipe. And in addition, there's an 8-inch pipe that's gravity.
It's already there. No, it's not gravity. It's been pumped too, but it's just overstressed right now. I mean,
One pump does this or two?
now there's four
4?
pumps that go into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to put something in and have it be obsolete the week after.
No, this should take care of us for years down the road.
Okay, well, okay.
Not just till the end of next year or the following year. This should take care of 20 years, 25 years down the road.
Our plans for new sewer and water will be in addition to what we're now talking about. None of the new sewer plans rely on what we're doing today. Or do they?
Well, are you talking about what's going out to the old Dubinger? Road 3 to Dubinger?
I'm talking about anything we might develop south of 300 South.
Yeah, that would all,
This,
yeah, it would all come in.
this improves our sewer service and our ability to serve in the industrial park and on the Rothrock property.
Which is where you're proposing the BOT to go.
Yes.
Anything that goes in there, this will,
This is the route that the sewer goes.
okay.
I just want to make sure it's big enough.
Who engineered this for us? Would you remind me?
So this, we are using the city's longtime engineering firm, United Consulting.
Okay. So they've been informed and know the system and know
Yes.
Okay.
Longtime,
our desires
30
and goals and all that.
30 years. Keith Bryant from United Consulting.
Okay.
This is the estimated project cost. It's middle of the road. Middle of the road.
By middle of the road, you mean middle of the 4 options?
Yeah, so the low
The
option
middle
was,
range.
low option was 775,000. The most expensive option was 2.3. And so this is 1.7. And I believe the city utilities are prepared to make a contribution towards this. Mayor, do you have the amount?
200,000.
And we're already committed with the Ready 2 funds and projects to do $1 million worth of investment. And so instead of doing just $1 million, I am proposing that we do 1.78 less the $200,000 contribution from the city. And so we're at, rounding up, we're at 1.6. And this is of higher priority than an RF. I want to move forward with an RFP for a shell building, but this project, in my estimation, is of first priority.
The cost of this, the money to pay for this comes from where?
If you look at your obligated funds, we would We would fund it from the Spiceland Draper, the I-70 State Road 3, and the industrial park allocation accounts.
Spiceland Draper currently has 517,000,
Yes.
round numbers. The next one you said was,
I-70 State Road 3?
okay,
So it'll take,
and that's got $1 million in it.
Yes.
it'll
So
take
if you-
1.8 of the 4.7.
Yes.
If you add these two together, it's about $1.5 million.
And then industrial park allocation account.
What's the chance we can goose you up to 288,000?
Well,
And then we got $1.5 million we need to spend.
my next goose is if we have any gooseable money, we would increase that 10-inch line to a larger line than, if at all possible, that's where we were gonna put more money in, was from the 32 to the lift station. Make that larger.
What we're looking at in option 3 is installing a 10-inch force main. You're talking about increasing the size of that.
There's an 8-inch line there, and
I understand.
we're gonna put a 10-inch, but I would still, I don't wanna sound sarcastic and I don't wanna sound greedy, but, we just sold the spec building, sold the land across it. This Thursday, we're gonna start putting the line in, water and sewer underneath the road, and I'm saying, we're putting them, but don't get in a hurry on selling that yet, because we can't take it with the sewer line we have right now. We can't handle it until we improve back to this 10-inch line.
I think I'm understanding what you're telling me, but I don't understand putting in a 10-inch and then digging it up and putting in something bigger.
No, that's.
What are you talking about? Something bigger?
That if we have the money, come the day that it goes in, we would upsize it to an 18 or 20-inch line, if at all possible.
The city would.
The city would
take that on.
would upgrade that 10-inch.
And that would then reduce the project cost.
No. If I'm understanding you
Well, sure it
correctly,
would.
it's 200,000 from the city for this project.
As it is right now.
And then he's going to explore the cost to upsize the pipe,
And I appreciate that.
and then he would cover that.
A bigger pipe will cost more than
A 10-inch.
a 10-inch pipe.
Yes. And if we have the money, the city's willing to upsize that pipe as large as we can.
So the cost to us would be reduced.
No. No.
We pay the flat cost we're talking about now. The city would pay the increment to go from the 10-inch pipe to the 20-inch pipe.
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
But
Thanks, John.
But if we do not do this project, doing any other projects out there can't really happen because we can't provide the service needed is.
Correct.
That's, okay.
I'm just
And
letting
we
it
have
every
to
day.
spend that million.
We do. We're already committed
We're
to spend
obligated
a
for that.
million.
Yeah.
And then I tried this a few months ago, and it was my fault, and it didn't go very well, but I'm gonna try it again because I'm dumb. The $1 million on your obligated funds, in the upper section, it says Ready to Project 923.
Yep.
We've already received, you approved 1,285,000. We've already received about 700,000 in reimbursement. And,
And it's in here?
yep, it's reflected. And then, all told, we'll get $1 million. So that 700,000, we'll add about 300,000 to it, we'll get $1 million back. So if you just zero in on that line, we've only spent 285,000
After reimbursement.
after the reimbursement.
After the rest of the million gets reimbursed.
Yep.
And Corey, out of this 4.7, we're also doing this spec.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this obligated funds report does not reflect any revenue from 26.
So my other question is, then, those are, it's got a 25 year on that for the estimate. Is that a good, where,
I think it's a good number.
okay.
The typo, it should be 26 construction.
Okay.
So basically, you need a motion from us to lock in, we will pay up to this amount, and then it would be up to the city to cover the difference.
Yes. And to clarify, that amount is,
1.588.
thank you.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
And I was trying to make it 1.5.
Well, we can see we gotta check it, so. I would not be averse from dropping it down if that's, because we are building in $200,000 in contingencies, which it could be used and it could not be.
Yeah.
When we built the jail, we bid in $1 million and we didn't use hardly any of it, so, contingencies, can go both directions.
I don't want to put you in a bind, Mayor, and I appreciate the 200,000 very much. I'm just trying to goose it up, and I think you understand. Because once you start charging for using the line, hell, you
Well,
can make that money.
and I totally
right.
get it, because.
Okay, we got a motion.
We pay the bill to you guys too, on properties, on lines we put in. so.
Well, I can just tell you this, just the battle with Boar's Head and Hummus Plant, the city spent millions of dollars just to try to stay ahead of Corey, to have him say, yes, we have it available. So don't sit back and think that we're just making money hand over fist. I mean, we have to work daily, make ends meet, but we've worked, busted our hump and spent millions and try to stay ahead of the game for the future.
You deserved hazardous duty pay for what you had to do with Hummus Plant.
And I appreciate that too, but this body also it's not like we're sitting on mounds and mounds of cash either. For all intents and purposes, this takes pretty much everything we've got, is what you're asking. You're asking us to give our last dime, nearly, to do this project. Now, knowing that we will get revenue when the settlement happens, but that doesn't happen until June.
Correct.
June is when the settlement will come in, and who knows how all that's gonna shift. They're still changing things at the State House. So Baker Tilly and I'm being told we're not gonna get our numbers until probably July at best.
Yeah.
With the recalculations and the changes they made in the property taxes. I'm sure your Lao was in the same nest that we're still trying to figure. So Scott, I'm willing to rescind my motion if you want to alter it.
I think I'm comfortable where it is. I just,
Okay.
I understand what you're saying.
We got a motion and a second. Is there further discussion?
I made the motion. and-
Thanks.
So
If not, oh,
when is the best time, or do we continue to talk about the 20-inch line? Because what I'm hearing from you is, you want to make sure it's big enough. Kind of hear one from the mayor as well. If we have money, we'll kick it up to 20. I mean, do we consider kicking it up to a 20-inch line now? To Scott's point, I think we don't want to dig it up in 3 years because it's too small, or put in another 10-inch line beside it. Do we have any idea what the cost difference is?
No. There's not a company on the face of the earth that holds steel or piping prices for 2 hours today. I mean, there's nobody.
I tell you,
Putting
my
prices.
approach will be, based on this conversation, my approach will be to ask the engineer to include an alternative of a higher pipe size.
So I'm just gonna throw this out here. If it was not in their original, then they must not have seen the need for it.
It was.
So,
It
it
was.
was
Is
in
it
the original.
1 and 2?
It was in
Yeah,
their.
1 and 2 eliminated, option 1 eliminated the lift station and took the 36-inch all the way down to,
Which was the $2.3 million.
Yes.
Yeah.
yeah. And that's not my recommendation because we don't have
We don't have-
$2.4 million.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, we could ask how much the difference is, but we have what we have, and we only have this limited amount of money, so I don't know that we're going to come up with any different number than the motion I already made.
No, this
I'm not-
it's a great plan.
I'm not,
So-
I'm just saying, I think we need to keep our options open because we're gonna cost ourselves more money in the long run if we end up doing it in 3 or 5 years than if we consider it now. I mean, I'm not saying.
Maybe I'm a little confused.
Doing part of it twice.
Right.
And Greg, I think you confused me a little bit because you said we had 20 or 25 years with the 10-inch line. And then when Scott asked you about if you could come up with extra money, you said you'd put it in a bigger line. So,
If we have the money.
yeah.
Well,
So
what-
is it 25? We're not talking about a 3-year.
No, we've got an 8-inch line, and this calls for a 10-inch line. I don't know when we can start this project. If it's in 6 months, we're not gonna be able to put any more money with it. If it's the first of next year, we might be able to, at that point in time, say, the labor's gonna be the exact same. Doesn't cost any more to put a 20-inch line in than it does
Sure,
a
it's just
10-inch
the pipe.
line. It's the cost of the pipe.
Yeah.
So if we can afford another $150,000 at that point in time to put a 20-inch line, what I'm saying is the city will say, let's put in a 20-inch line.
So your question is, if he's saying 25 years for the current 10-inch, what kind of years are we gonna get out of a 20-inch?
Well, if,
Is that what you're,
Yeah,
Or
I'm
just
just a little
really wanting-
confused because,
here's a confusing part. The big enchilada, 36 line all the way to the lift station is gravity flow, and through a 36-inch line, you can gravity flow a lot. But when you pump it, you can pump a larger consumption more than a gravity flow. You're pumping this much gravity flow, you're pumping this much.
I think I understand better now. Our other options had a bigger pipe.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. So, okay. And if there's a place to spend it, you're saying,
That's where I want to spend
I
it,
get it.
is it in that bigger pipe at that
Okay.
time.
Because they could.
all right.
You started to say you will have the engineer propose an alternate.
Yeah.
That's fine. I think we just keep our
And it
options
won't
open.
cost us anything. And when we go out to bid, we'll bid a larger pipe size. And then the city will have the information needed and can make a decision.
But that doesn't change our contribution to the
No.
project.
It doesn't change our 200,000 either.
Nope.
Okay.
Gives us an option down the road. I mean, if it's a marginal
It's
thing.
knowledge.
Right, to
It-
double our
it-
pipe size, maybe we do it, maybe we don't, but at least we know.
Okay. Everybody understand the motion?
Yeah.
It's to spend up to.
Good with yours?
I'm good with mine.
All right.
I'll stick with my
1.588.
second.
Up to 1.588, and that's based upon the premise that the city will contribute $200,000 plus and a larger pipe if it's possible for the city to do so.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, all in favor of the motion? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no? Carries. Thank you.
Thank
Good
you.
discussion.
Prices
Good
of those two
discussion.
would drop.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
How we want, right?
yeah.
Can you figure out where we
Chances
are?
are slipping back. Go for it.
Did they reverse Senate Bill 1?
I know.
Okay, Corey,
No, they're
you would
gonna
like
call
to
that
issue
again
an RFP
next year.
Yeah.
for a build, operate, transfer project for a shell building, right?
Yes.
Talk to us about that.
With the sale of the Shell building to United Utility Supply, I want to continue the Shell building program if possible. I think it is an effective marketing tool for business attraction and business retention. Boar's Head Hummus is operating out of one of our Shell buildings also. And so I am asking for permission to issue a build, operate, transfer, or BOT, that is a procurement method available to units of local government. Issue an RFP for a new Shell building. There will be some professional fees associated with this. I'll work with Defer Varan and Ice Miller to comply with the build, operate, transfer statute and come back to you in a few months with the results. And we can evaluate the responses that we get from the marketplace and decide whether we move forward in constructing a new Shell building.
How big?
Just under 30,000.
Where?
On the Irvine site, the southeast corner of County Road 400 South and Brooks Drive.
So you're requesting permission today, or authority today, to issue an RFP to do what you just described.
Yes,
That'll take a motion.
please.
Make a motion to approve that?
For a second?
I will second.
Now, is there discussion, questions? Everybody understand? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Thank you. That'll put us, it's first step, putting us back in business. Okay, technology park.
With the commissioners, with the county commissioners' approval of the zoning PUD for the Henry County Technology Park located on the northwest quadrant of State Road 109 and I-70, I recommend that we do some data and research regarding that project to help this body and county elected officials make the best decision possible if and when a end user becomes available and we find ourselves negotiating. And so there are two items that I would like for you to fund from the State Road 109 allocation account, and that is an analysis from Baker Tilly from a property tax standpoint. And this is a deep dive in terms of the impact of an investment on the Henry County Technology Park site. And we'll come up with some assumptions and have Baker Tilly run an analysis on what that does to property tax revenue, property tax rates, so we can be informed to the maximum extent possible if and when we find ourselves negotiating with an end user. That amount is $7,500. And then I want to do an economic impact analysis with Thomas P. Miller and Associates, specifically related to the tech park, and that is an amount of $15,000. Both would be paid from the State Road 109 allocation area, which has sufficient funds
Over $1 million.
in that account to do this work. This is proactive. This is Boy Scout, Girl Scout, be ready in terms of having the appropriate information, so I can have the appropriate information, and so our elected officials can have the appropriate amount of information if and when an end user is identified.
Where will the data to do the analysis come from?
So the Baker Tilly analysis will come from the existing parcel reports. I mean, it will look at a countywide parcel impact.
It will assume that the development will add something.
Yes, and we will work with the developer to make sure our assumptions are appropriate.
Okay. And is the developer looking, as far as you know, is the developer looking at doing this in phases? Is it possible to do it in phases?
It is possible to do it in phases. So we would look at probably a phase 1, maybe a phase 2.
And then we would supply the information that we get, the analysis that we get, to county council and county commissioners?
Correct.
Who else?
The public.
The public.
The public.
Thank you, Mayor.
And this body as well.
Okay. If I'm understanding that, this is kind of a marketing step, and which we're doing for the developer.
No, I respectfully disagree. We're doing this for us.
Okay.
And when I say us, typically the Economic Development Corporation and the Redevelopment Commission exist to advise and make recommendations to the county council and county commissioners. This is getting, in my mind, the appropriate information so we can make the best recommendation possible, independent of the developer. Because the developer won't be making the incentive decision. That is up to the county council. This area, part of it is already in our State Road 109 allocation area.
Right.
Therefore, it is not even a dotted line connected to this group. It is a Sharpie line connected to this group.
It's more of an educational tool for all involved,
Absolutely.
more than it's marketing, it's
Yes.
educational.
Yep. And if we end up in a negotiation with an end user, it is my assumption that whoever it is on the other side, this won't be their first rodeo. It's our first rodeo.
And they'll look at us and say, oh, they did some homework on preparing this,
So I
so
just want to be prepared.
So Chad, would this be helpful to the council? Is this
So
something?
obviously, when it comes time to talk about, the end user and what they might bring and ask for, and obviously, I think it would be extremely helpful in that discussion, definitely, for the council perspective. Plus, it gives it an overall picture of what the impact is going to be and what the possible alternatives that have already been talking to, the payments in lieu of, or if that's the option, or what option we go with as the way to do this. I think it's almost going to be imperative that we have it to be able to make those decisions down the road.
I mean, is that something you guys, as the council, should run point on, or is that something that we should do? Because the way I see this project rolling out is this is different than traditional things that we've dealt with, because I mean, you're not the point person in this one, because the developer, I mean, the redevelopment commission doesn't own the ground. The developer is working with whoever they're targeting directly, and we're not really, it's not like a site selector's coming to us and saying, we've got this. I mean, how do you see our role?
I think from my perspective, correct me if I'm wrong, Corey, I think where the RDC's role really comes involved is this is in a TIF district, and it's going to impact our TIF. It's going to have some direct impact on the TIF, and obviously we need to understand from the RDC. Let me put my other hat on now. From an RDC perspective, I think it would be imperative for Corey to, while he may not be the normal role, still be a very involved role, because this will have impact. Corey, please elaborate further.
This is information necessary so I can advise the elected officials and make an informed recommendation from an incentive perspective. And so in that respect, my role hasn't changed. I'm not out necessarily controlling the real estate, but I'm often working with the county elected officials on an incentive recommendation.
So Corey, if this project doesn't go, and I understand that it'll roll back to ag, is that correct? It won't
So
automatically stay as what it's zoned today.
the PUD has a shelf life.
So if that happens, this piece of property could still be marketed for other things. Could this still benefit you for something else that it's marketed for eventually?
Maybe.
Okay.
Depends on the end use.
Okay,
I think it'd be tough because it doesn't have water or sewer to it.
right,
Has no
right,
utilities.
yeah.
Same question with respect to Tom Miller's study.
Same answer. It's knowledge ahead of time, before there is an end user to negotiate, and this is about education and information with the public and the elected officials.
We need to do that now.
Yes.
Okay, so we might as well, we can deal with them together, it seems to me. The question is, do we authorize Corey to go forward and spend $22,500 of our money for these two studies in order to help elected officials and the developer, and to some extent us?
I have a question, Jim. Do I have any potential conflict of interest on this one, being that said elected official sitting as the president of the financial body of this county? Should I abstain from this vote? There's 3 attorneys in the room, not looking.
Everyone
Somebody
quiet.
can show
Yeah,
the
nobody's
answer.
wanted to jump up real quick.
I don't think you do.
Okay,
You don't have any
I don't
interest
feel
in
like I do.
Baker Tilly
I mean,
or Tom Miller
I no
Associates.
personal, there's no personal interest. It's all for the county's benefit.
I think if you represent either one of them, you should abstain.
Yeah,
since you
I don't see, but
Don't
I just,
represent
there's
them.
so much, I just want it all put out there, and I'd rather put it out there in public first that I ask the question. I don't see it personally, but if you tell me different, then I would.
I can't, yeah, I wouldn't.
Okay.
think so.
A little off topic, so it's partially in the TIF.
Yes.
Too late to get it all in the TIF?
No, it's not too late.
It's a-
Is that something we should,
Well, so the Baker Tilly analysis will help us determine, will help us answer that question.
okay.
Okay.
What question?
Whether we expand the State Road 109 allocation area in an effort to offer an incentive, an efficient incentive that benefits both the end user and the county.
Good question. Okay, I'm still seeking a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carried unanimously. And that provided approval for both elements of what you're requesting for. In other words, 22.5.
Thank you.
The last one I think will be much easier. The last one on the agenda, I don't know what you have to sleeve, but in terms of what we know about, the next item is the Newcastle Career Center and the proposal.
So sent to you via email and also on the screen is a request from the Newcastle Career Center to purchase equipment that would benefit the engineering program. It is in the amount of $60,000. Here is the list of the equipment. It is my recommendation that we approve this. And if you look at your obligated funds, second line down, NCC 3-year program commitment for training equipment. Amount approved 90, paid 60. So I'm asking to use the final 30, approve another 30, for a total of 60. And then to further complicate things, I am asking for approval for another 60, but not to be paid out until 28.
Whoa, time out.
We've always done a 3-year commitment of $30,000 a year.
Correct.
I want to modify that and do $60,000 every 2 years. Because it is more beneficial. They can buy more equipment at one time. So I'm asking for an additional 30 above and beyond what is obligated on your funds report to satisfy this request. And then I'm also asking, let's go ahead and plan for another $60,000 in 2028.
0 in 2020.
Correct.
I thought you said this was gonna be the easy one.
Well, I thought it was. At
I mean, so
30,000
basically you're asking us to front the
Advance.
30 for next year.
Yeah.
So it's really not an additional, you're just
just advancing
asking
to
us to front the 30.
There you go. I should have called Chad and said, could you word this in
Yeah,
such a
you gotta
way?
spin it right, but
And
Sam, you gotta go to the sales guy to figure out how to spend some of this stuff. So we're just fronting 27's money into this year.
I don't have a problem approving 30,000 for 2026, which is already in budget, and 30,000 for 2027, which theoretically is there because we're committed to 30,000 a year. I have a problem with that. I don't know how comfortable I am committing 2028, 2029 dollars.
Well, we've understood, but we've always given them a 3-year commitment. So I just want to continue with a future commitment and get it on our books, so we're planned for it, and it's there. And then in 2028, they'll send us a request, and we avoid this conversation.
I like this. I like this proposal.
Yeah, I do too.
I mean, it's laid out very specifically, easy to understand, and which is Mackenzie Jackson is the head of the Career Center, and she's proven herself as far as I'm concerned, and so as long as she's there, I don't have any problem with it. I don't know if she's gonna be there in 2 years or 3.
So is the future commitment something we can address closer to our budget discussions or next year, or? I mean, do we need to address that
Sure,
today?
but we've always gone out 3 years, so I'm really not asking.
So we would be coming to us, what you're saying already, and ask us for that this year.
For the
because-
renewal.
For the renewal.
I'm
This
doing
is-
it all at the same time.
So it would be asked this year anyway, because it technically does term out this year. So you are asking us, you would be asking us normally this year anyway.
Yeah.
I understand your trepidation, but I
He
do.
wants
like the
$120,000, and the question is, do we approve it? I think we probably should, but
You gotta make him
I like,
sweat.
that's just way too easy.
So,
So you're asking for two things.
I am.
Approval of this project.
Yes,
Let's vote on it first.
okay.
Is there a motion to approve the project?
I'll make a
It's a
motion.
good
that we-
project. I think
I'll make a motion that we spend the other 30 and upfront them the additional 30 for next year's services, and for a total of 60,000 to complete this very worthwhile project.
Second.
Is there a discussion, further discussion?
And to be clear, the 60,000 is paid out.
Today. Yeah,
Yep.
we're
Yep.
fronting in the money today.
Okay.
That's my intention in the
All right.
motion.
It's paid out differently than we've always approved it, at $30,000 a year. But we'll get that, but we're okay with that. We've got the money.
Is the
take
commitment
it
always
for
to
it.
the engineering?
No.
No, no.
They,
Just
it's
to the
They
to the
just,
program.
they pick
They pick.
things,
It's
okay.
always to the
I just
career.
didn't know if you were always supporting, because this is my first time seeing this since I've been on the board. I didn't know if you were supporting just one particular group, or if it was
We let them choose
what their need is.
what we say equipment.
Yeah, okay, that's fine.
And we say $30,000 a year,
Yeah, it was just curiosity on my
We
part if
said
you were.
not $60,000.
We had said,
And I want to change that.
Yeah, because like we support some of the groups as well with some
Sure.
of our dollars. I was just curious if you were supporting just this every time.
Nope.
Last year, they showed us what they spent the money on, and it was equipment for EMT training.
Yeah.
Wonderful
Right.
training and wonderful equipment.
Yeah.
All right, there's a motion on the floor.
And a second.
And a second, and we've had discussion. Is there further discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Now, you want to start committing money we don't have 2 years hence.
I want to plan. And I'd like to, I want to create a line item that says Career Center 2028. So academic year 28, 29, 29, 30, $60,000.
they can spend that in anything in that 2-year time frame.
Yes, if they want it all at once in 28, fine. If they want to break it up over those 2 years, that's fine.
That was my understanding too.
Has she asked for that?
No,
Okay.
I want to be
just wondered.
proactive.
I just wondered.
Are you not concerned about that if tax dollars go down a little bit, that it might not reflect in that?
I think this is an incredibly important initiative, and we should plan around that.
Well, we don't know how much is gonna be coming in.
And
so
if we can't afford $60,000, then we've got bigger problems.
I think that's the baseline is in the budget with the TIF allocations and what we have, that
This is a
this is
way,
a pretty minimal.
and I know I'm preaching to the choir here because of your previous vote and your previous comments, but this is a way that tax increment finance can support all of the school corporations in the county, because they all send students
to
to
that
this career center.
vocational career center.
And it's workforce development. There's a specific statute that allows tax income and finance, and we've been doing it for a number of years. And super proud of this group and the partnership that it offers.
I would also tack on the fact that it's also an opportunity for us to keep students here if they've gotten the proper education. Some of these companies are hiring them and they're staying in our own community and maybe not going to school, which might not be ideal, but they're still getting a job and being taxpayers and good citizens in the community, hopefully, from being part of these programs.
And I also agree with Scott, and this program is phenomenal. My daughter went through this program, and it was extremely good for her and her future as a nurse. And so yeah, I think it's a very, very worthwhile cause to support, and that's why I will make the motion that we take you up on your recommendation,
And I
Corey.
would second that.
Any further?
Go ahead, Scott.
Any further discussion?
You want to throw things? Should we get closer together? So
All
throw
in-
things at us.
Gonna make you work at it.
All in favor of making this commitment so Corey can budget for it? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? No? Carries unanimously. It's a good project, it's a good way to go at it.
Are you sure?
I love it, I told you that the other day, I think it's great. I didn't know you were gonna come in asking for an extra 60. And that's okay. We contemplated spending the 60.
The final item is
Wait a
what?
minute.
Oh,
Additional item.
The Career Center equipment request is what we just dealt with, right?
yeah, there's
Again,
another
Corey, you
item.
got to spin it right. The additional
The
item is.
additional item.
The up his sleeve item, even though he's wearing short sleeves today.
You got something else?
Yes.
It's way up.
Do I know about it?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Then let's proceed.
A while back, you authorized the sale of property in the Belmont area.
Ah,
It's
yes.
4 lots.
Got it right
We
here.
received no bids from the adjoining property owners. They were all properly notified. We did receive a bid from a non-adjoining property owner. They were informed through the legal notice in the newspaper. And I am requesting your authority to move forward with the sale of those lots in the amount of $500
Ouch.
Total.
total.
Well, there was a discussion
For
about
$4.
this in the executive session, which we advertised to begin at noon today. Maybe you didn't get that.
Oh.
It was thoroughly discussed at that point.
I'm sure it was.
I hate that you missed
My
that
apologies.
So, at the end of the day,
Don't make the same
they're
mistake you
worth
made
whatever
earlier.
somebody's willing to pay for them. It seems like a very low number, but we all understand where these are located. We understand these are vacant lots. We understand that, I don't even know that they could be built on in the city with the ordinances as they are set.
We also
And we-
paid to mow them.
Yeah, we pay to
Not
mow
very
them,
well.
we have to put them on our insurance policies, yada, yada, yada. I think if this was duly advertised, we followed the state procedure by
Is this
the
a
letter.
motion?
I think we should accept the offer, so I'll make the motion because I think it's worth what somebody's willing to pay. It seems like a lower dollar figure for sure, but you know what? This was the one offer we got. So I think that's, it saves us the time and effort and energy of maintaining these properties. And hopefully this gentleman can do something constructive with them. So I make that motion.
Second the motion.
Is there discussion? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Carries unanimously. Now, that's everything on my agenda, is that?
Yes.
Do you have anything else?
Thankfully, I have nothing else.
Motion to adjourn.
Do any commissioners have anything to bring before the commission? If not, we stand adjourned with my thanks.